Kendrick Lamar will be performing this year's Super Bowl 59 halftime show. And Gage, honestly, it's a surprising pick because I know this time last year we did our predictions on who we thought it would be. Would it be Taylor Swift? Would it be Lil Wayne? With it being in New Orleans. But Kendrick got the announcement. He had a pretty dope promo video where he seems to call back to Drake mentioning doing a round two in this beef. And the NFL seemed to pull the trigger and announce him. What do you feel about it?
I love it. I think Kendrick's on a run. I think this is like keeping Drake awake at night until the day comes. And I just think it's a great move for everyone involved. Kendrick's, the hottest act in hip hop right now. Legacy, too. There are a lot of people in the older generation who respect him, so you don't really fall into that problem. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, man. I really don't have any problems with it. The only thing that I will mention, and I'm sure we'll get to it a little bit more, was I was surprised Lil Wayne was not the pick because they were in New Orleans, and that was who I had predicted at this time last year. So that would be my only counter, but I love Kendrick being the pick here.
I'm with you, bro. Honestly, I think Kendrick's kind of in his second peak, right? We talk about all-time greats and them peaking, and with this whole beef with Drake has kind of leading into a second Kendrick peak as far as relevancy and popularity. Because we can go back to Damn and to Pimp a Butterfly through 2014, through 2018, 2019, up until the Black Panther album came out. That was Kendrick's peak. And it kind of feels like we're in for another Kendrick run. It really does feel that way. And I like the fact that the NFL is pulling the trigger on it. And although I wanted to see Wayne, I'm not mad at seeing Kendrick at all. I'm a huge fan of Kendrick Lamar. I think he's a better performer than Lil Wayne. And to see him do this stage by himself, which what it looks like, they've kind of really announced that he's kind of going to do this all by himself. Do I think he's going to end up bringing guests? Yes, I do think he's going to end up bringing guests. Do I think it's going to be a lot like in years past, like with Usher or with Dr. Dre? No, I don't. I think he's going to bring one, maybe two people out. And those people are probably going to be Dr. Dre and maybe SZA, maybe Lil Wayne. But even if you go down the rabbit hole of the whole OVO versus TDE and Kendrick versus Drake, I'd be really surprised to see Wayne there. And I'm kind of surprised. Like, I wouldn't say I'm surprised that Wayne's not doing it because we did pick it. But as like, it's been a couple days since it's been announced, and I've kind of been able to take a couple steps back and look at it from like a macro point of view. I get why Lil Wayne wasn't picked.
Yeah. Well, before we get to the Wayne thing, let's focus a little bit more on the guy who did get selected, on Kendrick, and what this means for his legacy, what this means for his beef with Drake, and what does this mean for him as an artist? What do you think's coming next after the Super Bowl? Maybe before the Super Bowl? Are we getting an album for him to perform?
I think this all but confirms the fact that we're getting a Kendrick Lamar album in the next 8 months. I think, look at every single act that's performed the Super Bowl. They all have new music, whether that's what they play at the Super Bowl or not. That's what they're going to end up promoting, especially with Apple Music being a big part of it, of recent memory. Like Usher last year had an album come out the week before the Super Bowl. Kendrick Lamar will be having an album. Either it's going to come out hopefully before the Super Bowl or right afterwards. And the Super Bowl is what he does to promote the album. And I'm really excited for it because I know we've been talking, especially since the beginning of this beef, that when is Kendrick going to drop this album, that this seems that all this is leading up to. And a lot of us picked the end of summer. And now we're at the end of summer and we're all looking stupid in the face because it's not coming yet. But I do think we get a Kendrick album before the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to come before February, probably. That's when the Super Bowl is. But in terms of like legacy, though, I think this really does solidify Kendrick not only as one of the best hip hop artists of all time, but one of the greatest artists, period, of our generation. I mean, there are only a few select people who get to grace that Super Bowl stage, and now we get to put Kendrick Lamar up there. as headlining it. I mean, he had been on stage before with Dr. Dre, but
I think
yeah,
it's
man, just
honestly it's kind of proven that it's not proving, but it's kind of Kendrick's kind of transcending now hip hop or and into the upper echelon of hip hop figures. Like when we talk about like the upper echelon, we're talking about the most famous hip hop acts to have ever lived. We're talking about the Snoop Dogg's, the Jay-Z's, the Kanye West, the
Tupac.
Drakes, the Eminems, Tupac, Biggie. We're talking about those really seven right there. Kendrick is now basically the eighth. And by performing the Super Bowl halftime show, even by himself, he's now solidified in that upper echelon of biggest hip hop acts who have ever lived. And it's interesting to see too how we couldn't have predicted this stuff, bro. The jokes write itself, bro. Biggest the what, like the joke. Those the lines for some of from the beef are aging like milk.
Yeah, that's why I said Drake coming with this round 2 shit is not looking good for him because Kendrick just fired back with a haymaker. And yeah, overall, just really excited, man, because I think regardless of what this brings in the beef with Drake, because I'm sure this is going to stir some stuff up here in the coming months. But regardless, like you said, the album's coming. That's super exciting. And to see him actually perform at the Super Bowl is going to be a spectacle. He's always putting on great performances. He's going to go all out. So, yeah, man, overall, I'm thrilled about the decision. And I have nothing else to really comment on it.
Yeah. Well, at least until we get more information about what the show might be on. I mean, Super Bowl is 11, 12 minutes long, right? If you had to pick 5 Kendrick songs that you want to hear during the Super Bowl, what songs do you want to hear? I guess for me, the songs I want to hear is not counting the new music that's going to come out. I think for the Super Bowl, I really want to hear. I want to hear Mad City.
Yeah.
I want to hear Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. I want to hear. I'm kind of overhearing All Right. We're going to end up hearing All Right. Like, so I'll put that as like the third song. Or I'm going to put. I want to hear King's Dead.
King's Dead would be cool.
King's Dead. And the fifth one, I guess, is a big joker. I want to hear Not Like Us in the Super Bowl. And I have a question after you give me your 5 about Not Like Us.
Hey, I think those are all great picks, man. Yeah, Not Like Us is like the number one. I think like that's the ultimate troll move. That would be the greatest thing to end the set off with. Even starting it would be really funny. But moving on to other songs, I think you could do. Did you say DNA?
No, I didn't say DNA.
Yeah, I think DNA is one that could definitely make the cut. That's kind of tough. Maybe I know I was kind of a big one.
It's the oldest song. I do see DNA. Do you think he'll do Humble and Loyalty?
Yeah, Humble and Loyalty I could see too.
Imagine if he does Loyalty and brings out Rihanna.
That would be crazy. It's not really one of my favorite songs, but it was really popular. Swimming Pools, I think.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about his hits because we're not gonna get a B-side. If we didn't get a lot of B-sides during the Popeye show, we're not gonna get B-sides. Like we're not gonna get Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. I'm not gonna get.
See, yeah, I was even hesitant to say Money Trees because I was like, I love Money Trees.
I want Money Trees. I totally forgot. Can I change that? I would take Money Trees out for one.
But see, I just don't think enough people like know about that song.
Money Trees gotta go off. Money Trees gotta go off.
Hey, I'm with you, bro. I would love to hear it.
We hear J-Rock with Money Trees words. Oh, girl, I'm gonna go fucking nuts. I would go fucking nuts. Honestly. Talking about Not Like Us, you think they're gonna let him play Not Like Us considering what the song means? That's the big question, I think.
Well, I mean, this kind of
Think
gets
about it, like
into
really deep. It like, are they gonna let Kendrick say those words? Because I think he'll do the hook,
yeah, but
but
like not the whole verse. Yeah,
I don't think they'll let him do certified lover boy. I,
certified. Yeah,
yeah, out of PDF file. I don't think they're gonna let him. I wonder if they do. I think it'll be crazy if they let him say it, or if he'll do a thing where like they'll bleep it out if he does say it. Like he'll perform half the verse and they'll bleep it out. But even then, the whole verse is him dissing the fuck out of Drake for being a PDF file. Like Baka's got
yeah.
a weird case. Why is he around? Like they're gonna let him say that at the Super Bowl?
Hey, they might. They might. I mean,
That'd
you
be
gotta think about
crazy.
who's running the things at the Super Bowl now.
See. Now that leads us into the whole conspiracy theory based off of what Nicki Minaj and Birdman were talking about, where they kind of crashed out. I know we've been using that crash out term a lot, but I feel like it is relevant to this. Like Nicki Minaj and Birdman, both Young Money, Cash Money associates. I mean, Birdman started it. Wayne put Nicki on. Like they both went to bat for Wayne, basically calling out Jay-Z and Rock Nation for their biases in this beef and choosing Kendrick over somebody like Wayne with it being in his hometown of New Orleans. And honestly, I get how they would feel that way, but at the same time, I'm not really. If I'm Drake, I feel a type of way. Why did y'all not crash out for me over this beef?
Yeah,
Like I
because they
could have
were
used
pretty
some help
silent.
with it.
I didn't hear
Yeah, I could
Nicki
use
or
some help with this
Birdman.
beef. Exactly. And honestly, the irony is hilarious because we got to keep it a stack. Like Birdman robbed Lil Wayne for years. He really did. He stole a lot of money, and I know they might be cool now, but for him to come to his defense like this is like the pot calling the kettle black. Like, come on, my guy. Like,
Hey,
really, you're gonna be the one doing all this after you literally robbed. Jay-Z's the one that had to help Lil Wayne with his taxes because of you. Because of you. And this is not how you want to talk. And then Nicki Minaj basically just calling Jay-Z a house nigga and all this type of coons and all this type of stuff. And it's like, Nicki, we're not gonna do the race card, especially with you and your background and who your husband is. And even like not even to shit on Wayne, because I think we can gas Kendrick Lamar performing at the Super Bowl without having to put down Wayne. But like even
yeah,
Wayne's comments about racism and Black Lives Matter, him being one of those all lives matter guys, and him saying that he doesn't see race, it's like, Nicki, this is a bad hill to die on. This is a bad hill to die on. Especially the angle that she took. It was really, really corny. Like, let me see if I can pull up some tweets. But how did you feel
yeah.
about them
Well,
crashing out?
yeah. I was gonna say while you're pulling up the tweets, I I'm kind of in agreement with you. I think it was completely unjustified because as much as you know how much I love Wayne, I predicted him to be the Super Bowl halftime show. But I mean, it makes sense when you think about it. Like the TikTok that you made, which if you aren't following our recording on TikTok, make sure to follow us at AWR Podcast. It makes sense that Kendrick is the one who's headlining because he's relevant right now. And that's the one thing Wayne doesn't really have going for him at the moment. There aren't as many people who know about Lil Wayne, which that has nothing to do or has nothing to say about like his art or his discography or anything like that. I think Wayne's great. But just talking about logistically what's going to bring the most money in, Kendrick was a no-brainer.
And I think that's what people are forgetting. Like, it's popularity. It's not like it's not just popularity, it's relevancy. The Super Bowl is about relevancy. And who is more relevant at this time than Kendrick Lamar is? Like, And I think this like it's not 2008 anymore. And even in 2013, when Beyonce did the Super Bowl, nobody brought up Wayne performing in New Orleans. So don't do it now. Like, for example, I'm gonna have this tweet pulled up on the screen, but this is Nicki basically saying, denying a young black man what he rightfully put into this game for no other reason but your ego. Your hatred for Birdman, Drake, and Nicki got you punishing Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne, the GOAT, Nola, what's good? Eminem stood firm on having 50 Cent come out. A white man. Shit sad. House niggas things, but it's good for them. No loyalty, well, then niggas will keep sunning you. LMFAO, all this stuff, like she goes. Birdman tweeting laughing emojis and all this kind of stuff. It's like, are we being for real right now? Like, Kendrick's a young black man too. Like it's just corny. It's just really, really corny. And I feel like it's a lot of fake Wayne love. Like, I know we love Lil Wayne. I love Lil Wayne too. But if you can't understand why they chose Kendrick over him, like, and it's really clear, like, I get it. Like, now taking a step back, I get it. Because not a lot of people got to perform in their hometowns at the Super Bowl. I think only 3 people have ever gotten to perform in their hometown at the Super Bowl. Dr. Dre is one of them. Like, it's not a normal thing for it to happen.
Yeah.
So Lil Wayne is not entitled to that. And then, but I'm with him though. I do think, even though Jay-Z and Rock Nation specifically don't pick the Super Bowl performers, they do pick the short list. And it's up to the city and the venue. And I'm pretty sure sponsors have some input into it as well on who performs. But I do think it's interesting that they did pick Kendrick and Rock Nation having the relationship that they do with Lil Wayne, Cash Money, Young Money, all that them affiliates. I think it's interesting. I think it really is.
Yeah. I mean, we started from the very beginning. Just the the fact that Kendrick was chosen to do this after not only when Wayne could have been in consideration, but after Drake is saying big as the what? Big as the Super Bowl is what Kendrick is saying. And yeah, I think it definitely shows that Jay-Z and Rock Nation, they chose their side. They're not shy of going to bat for Kendrick, letting him promote his platform, get his music out there.
And even the fact too,
the thing is though, I don't even think there's like anything deeper to it than like, I think they just respect Kendrick and like what he's done. And it shouldn't even be like seen as disrespect to Lil Wayne in any way. I think Jay-Z has a ton of respect for Wayne, but again, it's a business move. And Jay-Z, if you know anything about him, he's a business-minded individual. I'm a businessman, not a businessman.
Let me just handle my business. Damn, like Jay-Z is the ultimate capitalist when it comes to this stuff. And if it just so happens that it aligns with his agendas, I don't. He's very petty. He's very, very petty. And I think this is less of a petty. Like I said, I think this is more of a petty move towards the Canadian than it is towards Lil Wayne. I really think so. Because they could have picked Taylor Swift and nobody would have batted an eye that Lil Wayne didn't perform. But it's the fact that they picked Kendrick Lamar. That's what I believe. That I believe wholeheartedly. But I think we gotta also call cap on something too. On the New Royal Mall podcast, Mall basically broke down that Drake has been offered the Super Bowl up to 4 times already, and he's turned it down every single time. I'm calling cap. I don't think he's been offered it 4 times. I think he's been in discussion, like, I wonder if Drake will do it. But at the same time, he was not offered it 4 times.
Yeah, I don't believe that either. I think there's just too many questions there about like the timing and the location that just didn't make sense for Drake. And yeah, I mean, I'm with you, bro. I definitely see that he would have gotten consideration to be a guest, to even headline it at some point, but yeah, 4 just seems absurd to me. I don't think there's any artist who's been considered more than a handful of times.
Yeah, I think
And
we got to keep it a stack. I think we got to keep it a stack. I think he's definitely being considered. Like I want to see Drake do a Super Bowl halftime show eventually. Will he do it after this? I don't know. But at the same time, 4 times, like are we being for real here? Like I don't think we're being honest at all. But honestly, I'm really excited to see this show, and I'm excited to see what new music Kendrick has to bring.